Hi guys, that's Gianpaolo Lorusso for a new edition of the PPC World News. Here we have Nils Rooijmans. Ciao Nils.
Ciao.
In
Come
virtual,
va, Gianpaolo?
in virtual, of course. Very good. Thank you. Okay, let's move to the first piece of news. This is came out some days ago. Google is going to roll out originally for political elections in presidential elections in US, but this will be rolled out globally, they say. It will be possible to have some piece of info of the advertiser, so much more transparency about who is advertising what. This is an ID program, so they will have an interface to register. What do you think about this news?
Yeah, I have to say, although I'm an advocate for privacy, I think this could be a step in a good direction in the sense that it will enable the end user to have some more information about who is really advertising to them before they click on an ad, and I think that's a good idea because it increases transparency and the quality of the search results. So as long as Google does not discriminate on who is allowed on the platform, I think it's a good idea.
Yeah, me too. Okay, let's move to another news by Andrew Law. He is talking about multi-ad group ad testing. So substantially he says, if you have a new idea for your ads, simply put it through all your main ad groups. Trying the way to have it fit to the different group, of course, because this can be quite disruptive in the efficiency of the ads. And he analyzes how to do it and how to consider the results. What do you think about this methodology?
Yeah, I love it actually. Also, Andrew again did a great job on writing the article. He's always very profound and in depth, and this one is no exception. I think ad testing on multiple campaigns and multiple ad groups is a great idea, especially if you have very little traffic. And one of the ideas that he mentioned is using the ad variations tool within the platform, which is actually required if you want to do ad testing within smart bidding campaigns. So I think that's a great takeaway from the article and definitely worth the read.
Yeah, me too. I have to admit it. As he says, exactly as he says, when you got used to do something in the same way, you are not so open to do it differently. And so I'm not so used to use ad variations, but this is a point. To use them, and I will try to do it as soon as I can, as I have the possibility to test something new. Okay, let's move to another piece of news. Yeah, from directly from Google there are some more clarification, some criteria to know if your company qualifies for small and medium-sized business ads credits for COVID-19. Here, I think there are all the criteria. You have to have your campaigns running for a year and all other criteria. What do you think about this?
Well, nobody wants to leave a penny on the table, of course. So I think it's good for advertisers that actually receive the credit, that they use it. I'm not sure how big the credit will be, and it's also a bit unclear on what Google defines as an SMB company. So we'll have to see. I have not yet seen any credits in my account. So yeah,
They should be.
learn more.
Yeah, they should be rolling out at the end of during May, they say, and yeah, you will have to have 10 out of 12 months in 2019 to spend something in your account, and in January and February of this year. So it seems quite a wide range help, and I think it's welcome. We were I don't recall now what's the parameter for small and medium-sized businesses, but I think it's connected to the budget. So we'll see. It's all automatic anyway, so you will see if it applies to your account.
Fingers crossed.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. Okay, a good news here. Mark Vine has analyzed data for the last couple of months and found something is finally going to be back to normality. So it seems that both advertisers and people are trying to get back to something similar of what we were used to. What did you experience in this last days or weeks, if you want?
Yeah, I think it's of course a very good sign. I did not really recognize any patterns with the data that I see with my clients. I have roughly like 60% of my clients are based in the Netherlands, and the Netherlands has been in a sort of a semi-lockdown situation where people are working from home. So we definitely see changes in search behavior, but I've not seen a very steep incline in the number of searches returning from like, let's say, the month before. So
what about conversion rates?
Highly dependent on the client. So on average, I couldn't really say anything that would make a lot of sense. But some clients are actually overshooting what they had before the Corona crisis. But some other clients are still, like for instance in travel, nothing is really happening. So
yeah, travel has been hit very hard. Yeah, that's the same for me. But I have some customers working in the nella moda.
Fashion.
In fashion, yeah, exactly. I couldn't find the word. Which are getting back to previous level of performances. So it's a good thing.
That's good. That's nice.
Okay, now piece by Brageves analysis, and he's sharing some guidelines to have responsive search ads performing at their best. What I've seen here is that if you have a lot of impressions and clicks, they are quite effective. If not, they aren't. Besides all these suggestions, what do you think about this particular piece of news, and more in general about RSA?
Yeah, I think he's repeating a conclusion from the research he did like a year before, and I still agree. It's very true. If you have a lot of impressions, the algorithms can actually learn what ad variations within your RSA perform best. But for ad groups that show little number of impressions, ETAs, if you configure them correctly with the right headlines, then they will almost always outperform your RSA, simply because if you put in a lot of different headlines in the RSA, the machine will try to recombine all the different headlines and descriptions, and very often that just doesn't make sense. So
Yeah, and it's quite difficult to measure it at a global size, because simply if you do bad responsive search ads, they are going to perform worse than your effective or expanded text ad. Um, um, if you are doing it in the right way, of course, they have many chances to perform better. And the responsive search ads are a quite more complicated instrument than expanded text ads are. So it's even difficult to make this comparison, because if you do it properly, probably they are going to outperform that. If you are missing some pieces or doing something wrong, the comparison just haven't sense.
Exactly. There's one use case where I really like the RSAs. If you think you've maxed out the number of impressions for an ad group and you have not yet tried RSAs, simply adding the RSA might increase the number of impressions, because somehow you're allowed to enter more options using the RSA than simply using ETAs. So that could be a use case that might make sense, but very often I just try to limit my ad groups to ETAs.
Yeah. I completely understand. I completely agree. I think Google loves it. So if you give the option to test it, the platform is going to test it. Okay, let's move to another piece of news. Frederick Wallace has created a script that detects anomalies at local level. So in this, especially in countries like USA, in which you have different states having different regulations about the virus, so it's quite useful. So in a big country, to have something that alerts you that in some places of the country something wrong is happening to your ads is useful. A lot less in Europe, I think, unless you have a jolly English, use English as a jolly language for all Europe, and so you have again a situation like United States. What would you think about it?
Yeah, I agree. For European advertisers, it's especially valuable if you advertise in multiple countries within Europe, because then you might see a difference between the countries within a country.
Which is not a best practice, of course, because every country has its own language, and of course we cannot suggest to do it. But if you are forced to do it.
Exactly. Yeah. Well, what you could do, of course, this is a single account script, so you can actually, if you make some changes, you can run it in an MCC. And if you have different accounts for different regions with different languages, then you could analyze the results. But I agree. In the US, it's a no-brainer, because right now, actually, we, of course, with all these changes going on in search behavior and conversion rates, we as PPC specialists need to pay a lot of attention to the nitty-gritty details, and scripts are great for that. And this is another example that Frederick has created that alerts you on huge differences in conversion rates and volume within different areas in your account. So,
yeah,
I recommend.
And machine learning has proven to be widely ineffective in these situations, because they, of course, the machine, of course, cannot know that all brick and mortar shops are closed, for instance, so cannot learn things that it ignores.
Exactly. Outliers like this are very hard to predict for the machines.
Yeah, of course. And I recall another occasion in which it could be useful. I've had some times ago a customer who was advertising railway plans all over the developing countries, and he was using, of course, English as a global language, because it was really a vertical niche. So that could be interesting too for for this kind of advertisers. Okay, let's move to another post here from Bethany Bay. It seems that Google is testing back again. Image, image extensions. I think it's the third time. Yes, Bing, at least Bing, Microsoft advertising has it. It always have had it. So, but I don't know why Google is going and came back so many times on this. What do you think?
It's a good question, because I definitely think it will increase click-through rate and thus make Google more money. So it always has been a surprise to me why there aren't more images in the ads. So from a Google perspective, it makes a lot of sense. For us, I think, yeah, let's test, let's see if the clicks really deliver some value.
Yeah, it's a closed beta. So
exactly. So far, I've not had any chance to test it. So
we will see if it can, if it will arrive to the final global audience. Okay. Anyway, I can't recall what were the the results at the first 2 times they tested it, but I've seen, for instance, in showcase ads in shopping campaigns, they work very well. So I think it's going to work as it works in Microsoft. Okay, let's move to the last post. Yes, this is very fresh news. Yesterday, I think it's Google is simply opening up a tool to test which to give an idea of which products are being more researched by the audience. The general audience, unfortunately, is limited to US, UK, and Australia, but we can have also an idea of what is trending right now. What are your comments on this?
Yeah, I think it's a very interesting tool, because you can clearly see the impact the coronavirus is having on the world, especially, of course, the UK and the US. People are searching for products that, in hindsight, make sense, but it's very hard to predict what people will actually be searching for. And it's actually funny, because I learned something about the Dutch ovens. I've never heard that term be used before, but apparently in Australia, people are searching for Dutch ovens, which is some kind of cooking material, and it's part of their culture. I've learned something new thanks to this tool, which is always nice.
Okay, let's hope they will open up to Europe too. It's not to change. It's not going to change our way of working, but it could be one tool more is better than less.
Yeah, it's interesting insights, definitely. Yeah.
Okay, thank you, Nils, for being with us, and see you in October in ADworld Experience in Bologna. Let's see what will be the number of allowed attending users, participants, but we will be there anyway. Okay, thank you, Nils, and ciao.
Grazie mille, ciao. See you on the other side.
Okay.